I'm at the 7th Annual Hotel Investment Conference that's currently underway, and it kicked off today. It's ahead of the annual Tourism Indaba that happens over the next weekend. The theme for HICA 2013 is shifting gear, and will focus on growth and economic development in the Southern African region specifically. So the conference specifically looking at how we're using muscle as a region to boost growth in the tourism sector moving forward. Joining me right now to get into some conversation about this is the Honourable MEC Mike Mabuya-Kulo, is of the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Thanks so much, MEC, for joining us this morning. Well, let's get straight into it. As I said, the theme shifting gear, a focus on Southern Africa. Spell out the key objectives and what you'd like to see achieved over the next 2 days, and then beyond that, with the Tourism Indaba happening over the weekend as well.
First and foremost, let me welcome you to the beautiful scenery of Durban. And we only know of 2 seasons here. There is summer and forever summer. And welcome to our summer in Durban and KwaZulu-Natal. Well, I think the theme of the conference this year is shifting gear. It is a perfect theme for this conference, in the sense that when you look at the global economic situation and you look at the contribution of tourism, despite of the global economic situation that currently obtains, we are seeing tourism worldwide actually growing. And that is actually giving us hope that this is one of the 6 biggest resilient sectors of the economy in the world. And for that, I think we are very appreciative to this tourism sector. But for us, as the Southern African community that are converging here, one of the things we want to see here is that taking this process forward, we want to have a sense of urgency among many countries in the region to move towards the UniVisa. Already there has been consensus between 13 out of the 15 countries that we need to move towards a UniVisa. And we think that the UniVisa will do quite a lot for us, because it will improve that the connectivity between the various countries, but it will create a seamless process for many tourists who come to the Southern Africa.
We've had a conversation like that happen, though, for the longest while. So how do you see this unfolding to reality? What's practically being done, and what kind of target has been set in terms of when we can see this come to the fore?
I can tell you, therefore, that we are simply saying, with those who are ready, those 13 countries that are ready, we think we must push and go ahead. And those countries that are not ready, let us join us. And I think ourselves, as well as the Minmec in South Africa, working with Minister Van Schalkwyk, who's leading us as a tourism team in South Africa, we want to push hard to see that indeed we can be able now to move ahead with those countries that are agreeing with the UniVisa. But there's a second issue that for us we want to see here. We want to see a huge investment in tourism. And for that to happen, we already are appreciative that in the whole of the region, in SADC, we're now seeing tourism contributing about 25.9 billion to GDP of the countries in the region. And South Africa alone is contributing a lion's share of 18.9 billion. Now, our view is therefore to say, if we collaborate with other countries in the region, we really identify the areas of cooperation. Whilst we may be competing in others, there is space for us to do that. And where do we see the space? It's in the packaging of some of the iconic tourism sites that exist in the region. For instance,
do we have enough to package? Because when it comes to Africa, we're primarily seen as a safari destination.
No, there is a lot to package. For instance, we are in discussion between ourselves and the Seychelles, that we can create a route between Durban and the Seychelles and market that route. We can also have a route between ourselves and Mauritius. We're also talking about packaging a route between ourselves, Zimbabwe and Zambia. We already have got air connectivity between Harare and Lusaka, and therefore we're starting to ensure put those packages easy, so the tourism industry can put together those packages and we can go be able to market all of us jointly.
When it comes to investment flows, I mean, you mentioned the kind of revenue contribution the tourism sector is making to GDP growth in South Africa, to Africa at large. That in the context of what kind of investment flows and what kind of growth targets have you set in terms of where that needs to be?
Well, let's be honest when we look at the question of investment flows particularly. China is leading by far, and there is no other way, and we are very low as the region. However, because Africa is the second biggest after Asia, we now have started seriously engaging with the WTCC, for instance, engaging with a number of strategic institutional investors. And our target is that at least by the year 2015-2016, we should have seen at least about a 2 to 3% growth in those investment targets in terms of inflows into the African continent.
While we've got the cynics out there that label conferences like these just another talk shop, we do know that a lot of conversations happen. As you highlighted, there are various stakeholders that are attending here, and it ranges across the board from hotel groups to airlines to financiers, to international and local investors within the space as well. What are some of the lessons that KZN has learned in terms of getting on the right path to driving the tourism sector that you'd like to share with the others that are in attendance?
One of the lessons that we actually have learned very much that we would like to share with them is that we have actually produced a tourism master plan for KwaZulu-Natal. And that tourism master plan has indicated to us where can we actually have game changers in this province. And we would want to share those with the other destinations, with other countries in the region, to say we think it is important that each country, each destination should understand its capability and where it is lagging behind. And we have understood where we're lagging behind.